Welcome back to the Snap Count Preview Show on the Big Play Sports Network presented by FanDuel. I'm your host, Trai, Essex. This is my quarterback and yours, Mr. Charlie Batch. How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm doing well, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, man. And I am hyped. You know why, brother? We are at 1,000 subscribers on YouTube now, man. Folks have come from around the world, around the country to come and watch us, some old has-beens who played this game 20-some odd years ago, talk Steelers football. It is a very humbling, and I just want to say thank you to everybody out there who tunes in to the Snap Count to get their daily dose of Steelers football and just NFL football in general. I know Charlie is excited as well, and there's more to come. Please subscribe to us again on YouTube, Big Play Pittsburgh, as well as Instagram. You can also follow us on X under the Snap Count Show, where we have 1,600 followers on there as well. So we blowing up, CB. We doing something good, must be.
Yeah, we're bringing some good content. So we just appreciate everybody who is out there following, and we are truly appreciative of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Plenty more to come. Plenty more to come. But the thing that's on the horizon right now, man, and it's the big man holiday. Thanksgiving is on the way, Charlie. And I love this holiday like so many other people do, but it's a special day for us big guys because we actually get to indulge without the judgmental eyes of others because they're doing the same thing that we doing, you know? And so I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be with a whole bunch of family. What are you doing for this holiday? And before you get into it, you need to tell me, what is your favorite dish for Thanksgiving?
Oh man, I'm going mac and cheese. That's always a favorite of mine. Tasha does her thing preparing that. It's really one of the marquee meals that everybody's looking forward to when they come to our house. And I say that because for the last 25 years, we've hosted Thanksgiving.
Oh,
And it's always been that way. And we always have roughly 70, 80 people that's always coming through the house. Now, not all at the same time. They're all kind of rolling because people have multiple places to go, but they end up at our house because game night starts at 6 o'clock.
oh yeah.
Once I get my mom gives everybody the look. It's time to play cards. Let's do it. Everybody starts, clearing the table out and getting the card game going. So it's really cool to be able to do it. And of course, this year we already have 65 that are already RSVP for it. So it's going to be a long day, but it's going to be a fun field day with family and friends. How about yourself?
I believe I've been to the Charlie Batch Thanksgiving before when I was up there, man. Y'all do know how to throw down. If anything, Charlie Batch knows how to throw a party. Charlie and Tasha know how to throw and make everybody feel welcome. So I know everybody's excited to get to the Batch household on Thanksgiving Day. We are also cooking at home for the first time. We are not traveling for Thanksgiving. We're having folks come over to the house. I am a big proponent. First of all, I'm in the kitchen too. It's not just the wife doing her thing. You know, I'm in the kitchen as well. I do this mean Cajun fried turkey, Charlie.
I was about to say, because you have to explain what being in the kitchen is. Like I can say that, but my job is to wash and dry the dishes and get out the way.
Everybody has their role. Everybody has their role. You are the washing dish. I actually do cook. And so I've it used to be all Christina, right? She used to have everything planned out, and I used to relax. Well, I wanted to help out a little bit. So she used to roast turkey 5 years ago. But ever since I found out this recipe for this fried Cajun turkey, where you get this Creole butter and you inject it in and you deep fry it, we haven't gone back. So that's what we're doing. I'm frying the turkey. I will make the macaroni and cheese because I got a nice little recipe for that. And then she'll handle everything else. But I do like to contribute at least a little bit to our Thanksgiving, and it's the turkey, right? That's the main centerpiece of the Thanksgiving dinner. So I'm pretty excited about that, as well as the football that comes on that day. I plan on having itis. That's what always happens on Thanksgiving Day, right?
You have to. If you don't take a nap, I mean, hey, it is. You got at least 10-minute power nap. That's what you need. Re-energize. Whether you choose to grab another plate, play some cards, that's just all part of it. That's just let you know the food is good.
Right. Last question before we get to this game, because there's a lot to get to. How many days before you're done with Thanksgiving leftovers?
I'm pretty much done by Saturday.
Okay.
So Thursday there, I could take you. Friday with leftovers. Saturday, I'm pretty much going maybe, a ham sandwich or something. And then by that day, I'm done. Like we got to go get something to eat. I think I was scarred as a child because my mom, we would go all the way through Sunday with, so by the time you got to Sunday, it was soup. Turkey soup. So I'm like, man, I'm good.
I'm waiting to use that whole turkey, huh? You're going to find a way.
Give me 2 days. 2 days, I'm good, and that's it.
I'm about 2 or 3 days. I like to do the dressing. a day or two later. My mom makes this cornbread dressing that I only get on Thanksgiving, so I gotta take advantage of it. We don't even do it for Christmas, and I will make a turkey pot pie out of some of that leftover turkey. So
Okay.
I'm excited about it. As you can see by my smile and just my general disposition, I'm so geeked about Thanksgiving, but I'm more geeked about this game coming up this weekend. It's another important one for us. We're going against the 7-3 Chicago Bears up at Soldier Field in Chicago this weekend, leading their division, which is a surprise to everybody. They got a second-year quarterback in Caleb Williams, a rookie head coach in Ben Johnson, who came over via interdivision, came from Detroit as their former OC. There's one thing that I did not know, because the last time, my greatest memory of playing the Bears is when the bus had his snow tires on and trampled over Brian Urlacher to win that game in Heinz Field. But I did not know we had not won a game in Chicago at Soldier Field since 1995. Were you aware of that?
No, I wasn't. I heard about it this week. That completely caught me off guard. And when you obviously it's a tough place to play, and you only play them every 4 years or so. So I can understand why it's been so long. But man, this week they got to turn it around and get it done, because this is a much needed win, because there's a lot of opportunity in front of this team.
Right. A lot of opportunity. We have Buffalo on the back end of this, who got a big win last night, or no, lost to Houston.
Lost,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. They lost to Houston last night. I just assumed they were going to come back, but we can't look past Chicago to get to Buffalo. We got to go up to Soldier Field, like I said, in a place that we haven't won, and we do the math, 30 years. So they got the work cut out for them as far as playing on Lake Michigan. Now, I played college ball in Chicago, so I'm aware it's not quite that cold yet. You're not quite getting the frigid air off of North Lake Michigan this part of November, but it's going to be a little frigid, and it's going to be a 1:00 game. So I don't think weather's going to have that big of a impact on it. But what I will say, who's going to have a big impact, obviously, is Ben Johnson. And the job
Before you get to that, Trey,
yeah.
I have one quick Chicago story.
Oh, talk to me about Chicago.
When I was with the Lions
Mhm.
in 1998, that was my rookie year. We went up to Chicago, and ultimately we were sitting there on the 2-yard line, and we call a pass play. It was a play action pass. Barry Sanders, I'm faking to him. The whole defense runs his direction. I set up the pass. I hit Johnny Morton on the post route, and it goes 98 yards for my first NFL touchdown.
Whoa.
Talking about excited, man. That was it for me. I was like, man, this is awesome. Excuse me.
Get it out. You so excited you can't even get it all the way out.
Got it out. But it was to have that play
Uh-huh.
in 1998 to be my first touchdown pass. And that's where I ultimately was just like, wow. So that's my favorite Soldier Field memory, is that in 1998, that 98-yard touchdown pass to Johnny Morton.
That's awesome, man. I didn't realize that you threw passes to Johnny Morton. I didn't realize you was that old, Charlie. But my bad.
I knew you were going with. I knew you were going to slip that old comment in there. I was waiting for it. That's why I'm looking at you. I'm like, I know it's getting ready to happen. And sure enough, you slipped that in. Man, get out of here, man. We wiser, man. Let's move on to the next topic, man. I'm tired of being the butt of your joke, man.
I do love a good Charlie Batch story time moment, man. And that's pretty awesome that your first career touchdown was a 98-yarder in Soldier Field on the road. That's pretty tough. My Soldier Field story is giving up a sack to Alex Brown. So my stuff isn't nearly as cool as yours, no matter how old it is. So moving on. Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. Now, something about this team. They have a 73 record. Their point differential is -6, meaning that overall throughout the year, they've scored less points than they've given up overall, which means that when you look at that stat, they've had a lot of close games. They, I believe, were in third place in the division last year. No, fourth place in the division last year. So this year, they would have a fourth place schedule, meaning they got to play against every division's fourth place team when they do play. And that might be the reason for their weaker schedule. Nevertheless, they are 7-3. They do not have a win over a team over 500. I would say their best wins were against the Dallas Cowboys earlier this year when they won by 1 point, and they won their division game against the Minnesota Vikings, a revenge game like we had versus the Bengals, where they came back and beat Minnesota by 2 points after losing to them by a field goal earlier in this year. I believe the second game of the season. when you look at this team overall, before we get into our keys, what are some of the things that kind of stand out in general about the Chicago Bears, and what are some of the things they got to worry about the Steelers and the coaching staff when they get to Soldier Field?
Yeah, I think, obviously going on the road is always tough, but when you look at this Bears team, they're explosive on offense and they don't turn the ball over, but yet they're creating the turnovers on the other side. So when you talk about complementary football, that's what you get. That's the winning formula. That's why you see the record at 7-3 because they're not beating themselves.
Right. And it's exactly some of the things that we got to do going into this weekend. As we get to our keys to victory, I'll go through mine and we'll get to yours, CB. The thing that I think we need to concentrate on first, and we did it last week versus the Bengals, and we need to do it again. We got to win the line of scrimmage, but we got to do it early. We got to set the tone early with our run game, with how we stop the run. I did not notice because they don't have a top 5 rusher, but the Bears are the second best running team in the league, just underneath the Buffalo Bills, who have James Cook. But they do it with a couple of backs. They got DeAndre Swift. They got to do Kyle, the 7th-round draft pick. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm going to learn it here pretty soon. Begins with an M. But they had those 2 backs that they're divvying up the carries, and they're not only good at running the ball, they're good at catching the ball at the backfield as well. And so it's going to be pertinent upon our defensive line to stop the run. And, of course, for us to get Jalen, Kenneth Gainwell, and Caleb Johnson going early and establish that line of scrimmage. Number 2, we got to put the game on Caleb's back. And I say this meaning he is a uber talented quarterback. And I know you'll get into more detail about your insights into Caleb, but just from an O-line's perspective from what I've seen, extremely talented, very crafty in the pocket, escape artist. But if the game is dependent upon him, now he can come with a big splash play every now and again, but sustaining long drives, making them one-dimensional, get that number 2 rushing offense into a more passing offense, I feel like we then get the advantage. When it's all on Caleb and he doesn't have to DeAndre Swift to worry to lean on because the run game has been stopped, I think that's when they get into trouble. And Ben Johnson's trying his best to get Caleb Williams up to speed, but I still think he's in a growing process, and that a game that is dependent upon him and him alone would not go well for the Bears. So I think we need to make sure that happens, to get the game on his back and make them one-dimensional offensively. And then thirdly, is thirdly a word? Third?
Make it a word.
Thirdly, play Mount Washington 40-plus snaps. I just saw this stat earlier this week. Now, when he plays 40-plus snaps, that means it's good for a couple of reasons. One, we got the manimal on the field as much as we can. But our record, I found out, we are 9-0. 9-0 when Darnell Washington plays 40-plus snaps. We saw what he can do. We saw what happens to this offense and how excited that sideline gets when he gets the ball in his hands and he starts rumbling. But that, honestly, that's a good pick-me-up for the whole offense and the team. And he does well when he's given his opportunities catching the ball. But his biggest impact on the game is his blocking. He is a dominant blocker, and he gives us the flexibility to be in those personnels where we only have one tight end and not risk giving up the ability to run the ball. So when he's on the field, our offense is better because we're more physical. We run the ball, and also he's damn good with the ball in his hands. We're finding out, right? He's running over people, tossing them out the club left and right. So he has to be evolved in the passing game as well. So those are my 3 keys to victory this week. CB, what do you got?
Yep. I'm piggyback right off of you and talking about Darnell Washington. He is the best blocking tight end on this roster. That's why he has taken over tight end number 1. And when he's on the field, just like you mentioned, over 40 snaps, they are 9-0. So get the running game going. You got to get, we're not unsure as far as how many plays that Jalen Warren's going to play, but if Kenneth Gainwell is in there, he's capable, very capable of getting the job done, just like he proved that early on in the season. And he is very dangerous with the ball in his hand. So that offensive line, they have to control the line of scrimmage, because if they do, now that minimizes the opportunity for the Bears. Number 2, take care of the football. They cannot turn the football over and expect to win this game. The formula up until this point, defense creates the turnovers, offense capitalize on the points. Last week, the 2 defensive touchdowns, but ultimately the offense, they have to take care of the football. Why? Because the Bears are good at taking the football away. And number three, somebody make a play on special teams outside of Chris Boswell. We know he's the best in the game, but I want to see that return game going. I want to see the hidden yardage happen in the return game. Give me that extra. So offensively, you don't have to make that extra first down if they're now able to change the field position, get that big play going in the kickoff return, but I want to see it going in the punt return as well. I don't know if Calvin Austin is going to get that opportunity today, but man, or on Sunday, but if he can get that going, that is going to be a game changer or a difference maker in this game here on Sunday. So I'm looking for somebody outside of Chris Boswell to make a play.
Hey, man, you hit the nail on the head, man. When we look at the turnover differential, and I think the biggest reason why the Bears are winning the game, they lead the league and not only taking the ball away, but not giving it up either. They have a plus 16 turnover differential, meaning they have turned the ball over or gotten the ball away from offenses more than they've given it away, to the tune of plus 16. They are number one in the league. We're number 6 at plus 8. And so whoever wins that battle right there is going to go a long way to winning this game. And we got to get Caleb Williams, their quarterback, their number 1 draft pick out of USC from last year, by way of Oklahoma before that. And was he at another school before that?
I don't even remember from Oklahoma.
I don't remember. All these kids transfer every other week. They play in like 5 different schools before they get to the league.
Hey, I was trying to get into Eastern Michigan at one point, Trai. You know, I had a tweet out there. I actually made CBS Morning News about the tweet that I put out there when he was leaving Oklahoma. I was trying to sway him up to Eastern Michigan. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. He ended up
just a little short, right?
Yeah, I was this close. So I'm like Dumb and Dumber. So you're telling me there's a chance?
All you need is a chance. Get up there to Eastern Michigan. That would have been something, huh?
Absolutely. But man, he is awesome, man. To watch him play, see what he did at USC, and ultimately now seeing him get, somebody who consistently believes in what he's trying to do, and now creating that narrative for him and seeing him put the numbers up. It's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah. And that leads us right into our position battles. Quarterback. We talked about Caleb, and we'll get back to him in a second, but talking about the Steelers specifically, the injury report came out this week. A-Rod was able to practice yesterday, albeit with a wrist brace on. So we're not certain of his availability for the game. That's going to go a long way. As it stands right now, when we had to put these grades up, or whoever had the advantage at a position, as it stands right now, we got to give the Bears the advantage. I think we both went Bears at quarterback just because they have a known commodity at quarterback in Caleb Williams. They've been working with him all year. And he's been playing well, not great. He's not knocking anybody's socks off, not playing up to his talent, but playing good enough and playing good football, winning football, and not turning the ball over. Meanwhile, the Steelers have a question at quarterback. Talk about some of the things that if A-Rod is able to go, if he's going to give it a chance to go, what has to happen for him from a quarterback standpoint? What can't he do with the wrist brace on? Or will he have to be able to do everything with the brace on in order for him to play on Sunday?
Yeah, and as we talk today, we don't know truly whether or not he's going to play, but here are the concerns that you have. And if you're Arthur Smith, you essentially have to create 2 game plans. You have to create one for Mason Rudolph, which he'll get the entire offensive package, but then you have to create one for Aaron Rodgers, because today you truly have to see, number one, if he's capable of taking a snap. And if he is, what does that pain look like whenever that contact with the football happens with the arm? Does it resonate up into the hand, wrist, wherever the injury is? If he is able to do that, now the next step is when he possesses the football and hand off to the right, he's going to have to extend with his left hand to hand that football off. And then the mesh point with the running back, that's now adding another dimension of pain to the wrist. All of that is going to play itself out. Now, if he take the snap and the left hand can't grip, he's going to now have to hand the football off either with 2 hands or with the right hand going that direction. That's, it throws off timing when you have to do that. The next point is, if he's not able to take a snap, now he's going to be in shotgun the majority of the game. And if that's the case, there's a package that Arthur Smith has to put together, a pistol package when you're running the ball, and then of course shotgun whenever you're throwing the football, which ultimately that's what you normally do. So these are going to be things that I watch for, and I think the answers are going to have to play itself out because Mike Tomlin, being around him, he's going to want to see all of that. Mentally, I'm not concerned about whether he knows the game plan, practice time. He has all of that,
Mhm.
all of these little things, because at the end of the day, can he protect himself when he falls down? Because he will fall down at some particular point in this game. How is he going to brace himself on the fall if he cannot push off of that left hand? So a lot of things that are all coming to the forefront. But today will be that day that all the answers to the questions will be answered.
I'm gonna ask you to elaborate on one point, and it's something that I honestly don't know a lot about because we didn't run a lot of pistol when we were playing, right, Charlie? Um, can you? And I know Ben started doing this towards the end of his career as well. My light just went off. Give me a second. There we go. You got to see this pretty face of mine. I got to be lit up all the way. But Ben started to do the pistol towards the end of his career. Can you keep the same package of plays that you would take under center and just convert it to pistol and still be effective offensively without missing a beat? Is that something that can happen?
It could happen, but ultimately, because typically your running back is probably sitting there at 5 or 6 yards behind you. But
Mhm.
now your quarterback, typically you're about 4.5, 5 yards behind, and now you're in the vision of the running back. So he can't really truly see his keys as he's running through it. So I think
Gotcha.
ultimately there are going to be things that you have to take into consideration because obviously you want him directly behind you versus offset. Because if he's offset, now that changes the designation call of the defense. The strength could be 3-by-1. It could be 3-by-2. So
Mhm.
again, you're just trying to keep them honest because if those tendencies that they're preparing for, they're starting to show up. You don't want to give a tip on which direction that the run is happening.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Speaking of the run, the running back position is something that we've been harping on, and we've been talking about Jalen Warren getting more snaps. I think I'm admitting this week that maybe Jalen doesn't need as many snaps as I thought he needed because his style of play, the way he runs the ball, he plays a very violent brand of football. And that has lended itself to him picking up these little nagging injuries. Nothing major or significant yet, but the way he plays, we want that in January and February, December, January, February football, right? And so I'm starting to think and start to be in the mindset that we do need to protect him from himself. That means getting Gainwell the ball more and getting a resurgent Caleb Johnson the ball more. I think they're all capable now at this point after seeing them run the ball a lot. What Gainwell is doing in the pass game is absolutely amazing. He essentially is our number 2 wide receiver, so you can't take that out of it. And it's why I gave us the advantage in the run game at the running back position, just because I think we have a three-headed monster that's capable. And I think um, what Arthur Smith realized is that we got to keep on pounding the ball in the second half. Now, the Bears have DeAndre Swift, and he's been having a great year here in Chicago after having some years in Philly prior to this. And then they drafted a guy out of Rutgers. His name is Kyle Manange. And he's been doing well for them. 413 yards on 87 carries and 3 touchdowns, almost 5 yards a carry. A rookie running back, 7th round pick. And that's why they're number 2 in the league and then run the ball. But I still give us the advantage, not because we don't have as many rushing yards, but what we can do in the passing game. I think we add another dimension that the Bears don't do as well. So advantage running back Pittsburgh in my book.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with you, but the only reason why I go Bears in this particular direction is because I don't know how healthy Jalen Warren is right now.
Mhm.
That ain't coming off an ankle injury. Yes, I don't question whether he can run straight ahead, but how long can he sustain when now you have to make the cuts off of that ankle?
Mhm.
So because of that reason, I have to go Bears. And I just like the way that the Bears run their play action game. That is a strength of theirs, and they keep defenses off balance because they're able to run the football. So that's where I give the slight advantage here to the Bears.
Right. And the big boys tasked with paving holes for these guys, the O line. Um, I've been pretty adamant this week that they are coming off the best game, talking about the Steelers O line. Not against the best of competition, like I mentioned in our show on Monday. The Bengals didn't have a murderer's row, but they did what they were supposed to do. And they all had their best game of the year last week versus the Bengals. Yet and still, I think we're still a rung below the Bears O-line. What Ben Johnson did, his biggest worry coming into, and number one thing on his list that he's talked about over and over again, as well as Ryan, their GM, Ryan, I forgot Ryan Greer. No, that's Chris Greer is the GM from Miami. Ryan something, we'll get that here in a second, is the GM. Ryan Poles is the GM for the Bears. And the biggest thing this offseason, outside of getting Ben Johnson in, outside of getting the voice to mentor Caleb Williams, is to revamp that O-line. And boy, did they. They went out and got Joe Tooney, who's had a lot of success in his career. They went and got Jonah Jackson, who's been a really standout right guard out of Ohio State. Went to Detroit, had some good years up there, playing next to Penei Sewell, and is now in Chicago. Came with Ben to Chicago, and they got a stud at right tackle in Darnell Wright, who I think is becoming one of the best right tackles in the league. So they have the advantage from the O-line. This is not a knock against Pittsburgh. I think they're on the rise, but the Bears have some veterans in there that have played this game for a long time, and it has paved the way to the number 2 rushing offense in the league. And they're protecting Caleb Williams as well, who took more sacks than anybody last year. So advantage Chicago O-line, even though it pains me to say that.
Yeah, this one here, I'm going the Bears as well because you mentioned they're number 2 in rushing, and that starts with those guys up front. And when you're able to now blend that run to let you know now you're in second medium opportunities, that's when you're now able to thrive off of that play action game. And that's something that Caleb Williams enjoys to do. And ultimately, that offensive line is protecting him. And that's the key. And playing at home, there's no crowd noise that are going to be a factor in this particular game. I don't anticipate Steelers Nation taking over that stadium in the manner like they do in many stadiums around the league. And because of that, that crowd noise won't be a factor. And I think the Bears have the advantage right here.
Yeah, the Bears have a proud franchise like the Steelers do. One of like 6 teams you can add: Green Bay, Dallas, Buffalo, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. Those are probably 5 just off the top of my head who have the strongest fan bases. So it's going to be hard to invade Soldier Stadium like we do many other stadiums. So, but Steeler Nation will show up. I have no doubt about it. When it gets to wide receivers, though, the Bears still have the advantage here. Rome Odunze out of Washington. They got DJ Moore via the Panthers, and they drafted a kid in Luther Burton, a big wide receiver, 6 foot, 210 pounds out of Mizzou, who's been a really good player for them as well in the second round draft, or the second round of this past year's draft. So they have a 3-headed monster at wide receiver. Haven't been able to get DJ Moore involved as they would like to. Rome is starting to come out in his second year in his offense, or in this, second year in this offense. And I think that because we can't find that consistent second wide receiver, we say it every week, is getting old. And Kenneth Gainwell is a second receiver on our team. And then followed probably by Darnell Washington. That's just roughly looking at the stats, just of what we watch. We have not found a guy to come in and take that second wide receiver, much less a third spot on that team. And Chicago has 3 of them. So advantage Chicago.
Yeah, everything that you just said there. And when you look at just the passing game that Ben Johnson had in Detroit, now moving over to Chicago, he has 3 solid receivers there. And the Steelers are bottom of the league in pass defense. So you know that they're going to scheme some things up. It's not route. They're going to scheme up, shift motions, getting you to certain sets so they can predetermine what the coverage is going to be and take advantage of that. And one of the guys who they have in their receiver room is a former Steeler that we all know well. Antoine Randall.
Oh, I forgot it was up
That
there.
guy is, people forget, he's a quarterback by trait. He was he was a quarterback at Indiana, converted to receiver. We brought him here to Pittsburgh in 2002 as a receiver. And as he was going through, he always had the mindset of a quarterback, understanding zone man coverages, but also knowing where to end up when it is zone coverage to be friendly with your quarterback. So that mindset into that receiver group room, that leads to the advantage of the Bears.
Yeah, no argument here. Moving over to the defensive side of the ball. Chicago, like I mentioned, has turned other teams over to the tune of more than anybody else in the NFL. They lead the league and turn the ball over. So this defensive front is one that everybody needs to reckon with, and we need to come with our A game. But on the D line, I think we have the advantage. And actually, just to get to the end of the story, I think Steelers have the advantage everywhere, but we'll start defensively, but we'll start on the D-line. I think the way Keanu Benton and Cam have been playing have been outstanding. Yaya Black is finding his way at that nose tackle position, and Derek Harmon keeps on going on the rise. Last week, they gave up probably more yards today than they wanted to, gave up that big run to Chase Brown to open up the third quarter. Then they got things back to normal and shut him down pretty much after that. He wasn't able to get into the end zone. And this is coming on the heels of a masterful performance against Jonathan Taylor 2 weeks prior. So they are rounding out, I think, on the defensive line from a run stopping standpoint and getting at the passer. Chicago has some great pass rushers. They got Grady Jarrett from the Falcons, who's been a beast inside. Montez Sweat, who's been a revelation for them as well as rushing and passer. So they don't have any slouches by any means over there, but I still think the D-line with the leadership of Cam, with the way Keanu is coming on, playing his best football of his career in these last 3 or 4 games, I think the Steelers have a solid advantage on the defensive line.
Yeah, I agree with you there on that. And I think, Cam is Cam. We know what he's capable of and what he brings to the table. But this is a game here where I want to see Derek Harmon, as he's part of that rotation, make the impact. We know the Bears can run the ball. This is why he was drafted in the first round, to make sure that he's able to stop running backs in this particular manner. I expect to see him on the field a little bit more in this game to keep the Bears off track and get them in second and long and third and long opportunities. And that's going to start with that defensive line. So I give them the advantage.
Linebackers. We've been doing well. Patrick Queen has played his best football the last couple of weeks, now that we've called him out a little bit. Peyton is on pace to break the team record for tackles this year, Peyton Wilson. And he's only playing 70% of the snaps. It's amazing how much action he gets and how much he's around the ball when he's out there. Chicago, on the other hand, been playing great. Their linebackers, they have one of the great ones in Tremaine Edmonds, who was in Buffalo for a long time. They got TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, my bad. Then Noah Sewell rounding out their linebacking core. But what I found out this week, they're all nicked up. There's a chance that neither one of those guys in the middle at the linebacker position will play this week. So with that uncertainty, with the way Patrick's been playing, the way Peyton's been playing, advantage Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it was tough for me to go. I wanted to go with the Steelers in this direction, but I just have a sense that two of those linebackers are going to play, and if they play, I think that's going to be disruptive, because I just think the crowd noise is going to be is not going to be a factor in that particular manner. But ultimately, these guys, on the Bears side, I think they could take advantage of the offensive line of the Steelers there not being able to work their way up to that second level. And again, that crowd noise, I think, is going to play a factor in that direction. I know I said it wasn't a factor, but it is, because we're talking about these Bears linebackers.
Right. And in the secondary, this has been a sore spot for us for the last few weeks. Well, not the last few weeks. This year, up until the last few weeks. Once we got Jalen at free safety, once we traded for Kyle Duggar, it's kind of just solidified our secondary as a whole. The interesting thing going into this week was the way James Pierre has been playing when he's gotten the opportunity versus the way Darius Slay has been playing. Slay hasn't been playing good. There's no way to sugarcoat it. He thinks he's been playing okay. Coach has given him an opportunity to still be the starter once he comes back. He mentioned that in his presser. Yet and still, you would think that James Pierre earned the right to at least cut into some of those snaps that Slay has had as a starter this year, just from the simple fact he's coming off a concussion injury and he hadn't been playing his best football. You hope that maybe he could turn around after having last week off, but you just don't know. And he's getting up there in age, and it's the latter part of the season where all that stuff gets showcased a little bit more. And so I'm hoping that James Pierre plays a little bit more. I hope Slay comes back and plays his best ball of the season. Yet I think we're still solid there no matter what, with the fact that Jalen and Kyle have been playing the way they've been playing. And I think JPJ has been a lockdown corner. He doesn't get all the praises. A lot of people just focus on the fact that he's a physical corner. He gets penalties to the chagrin of much of Steeler Nation. We don't like it either, but we understand with this style of play, comes that sometimes. And he has been lockdown corner for us so far this year. And so we just need somebody to solidify that corner spot opposite him. James Pierre put his hat in the ring last week. I think he'll get some love this week. Still think we have the advantage, even though the Bears have Brisker, who they were trying their best to sign this offseason. One heck of a player. They signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I think he got released from Houston. And then they got Kevin Byard, safety, who's been a baller in this league for a long time, most of his years down in Tennessee. So they are definitely a talented crew. Still give us the advantage just from the fact that Jalen and Kyle have been doing their thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, our safeties, have really they've solidified when Jalen Ramsey ended up going to the safety position. And I love the addition of Kyle Duggar. And I think ultimately the reason why I'm going with the secondary of the Bears, because they rank better statistically. They're 23rd in pass defense. The Steelers are 32. But when you go back and have those conversations about whether, JPJ should play or Darius Slay, not JPJ, James Pierre, opposite JPJ, he has earned those reps and he has played solid every time that he came in. And I mentioned before that big play post route that he was covering Jamar Chase, knocked it down, didn't panic in the air. Those are plays you want to continue to see. Now that Darius Slay and a lot of Steelers Nation, they want to now see that position shift to James Pierre and away from Darius Slay. And the conversation, and even if it did have internally from the coaches to say maybe we want to play James Pierre, here's how I think how the conversation went, Trey. I think the conversation literally, the coaches said, hey, we're thinking about making a change. Management, owner said, that's great to hear, but it's not happening. Why? Because Darius Slay has a guaranteed contract.
Yeah.
He's playing. So money overrides anything else until something else changes. That's why Darius Slay is playing. That is what I truly believe. And I understanding the business of football, and this is one of the business decisions. The business of football has taken over what maybe coaches truly want to do because of the guaranteed money.
Yeah, all things being equal, got to pay the money or got to play the money, right? And not saying that they're equal, but Darius Slay's resume far exceeds anything that James Pierre has done up until this point. And I still think that weighs heavily in favor for Slay, despite the fact that James Pierre has been here. He's a known commodity. And when called upon, he steps up like you so expertly put it leading into the game versus the Bengals. You called it that when given the opportunity, he has stepped up and played in a big way. And this past weekend was no exception. Hopefully he can keep that going. And hopefully the coaches give him the opportunity to do it. Moving to special teams, we got the best in the business in Chris Boswell, obviously. I give us the advantage simply because we got Chris Boswell. But we need more, like you said. We need more from the run game. We need to make some sort of splash play like we did versus the Colts when we got that muff punt. And when Keyshawn Williams was able to give us a flip field position a couple of times with some of his returns. We need more of that. Whether it be Calvin Austin or Keyshawn Williams, or whether we see something with Gainwell and Keyshawn Williams in the kickoff return, we need something. We need some sort of splash. Ben Skowronek on the cover teams. James Pierre, who, despite playing a lot more in defense, will still be one of our main core special team players as far as coverage is concerned. So you definitely want to see if they can maybe cause a turnover in the punt return game or kickoff return game and also get a return. But solidly in our favor because of Chris Boswell. And Boz, we trust.
Boz, that guy is money all day. And the reason why I give the Steelers the advantage in special teams is not the players, it's the coach. Danny Smith is one of the best in the game. I think he should be assistant coach of the year or special teams coordinator or coach of the year because he's that good. He understands the rules, he understands in-game adjustments, and he makes them in timely manners. You can go back just to the Colts game when he got the 15-yard penalty. He said, why kick it through the end zone? I'm going to just kick it straight out of bounds. And it took advantage of the yardage that way. So I think this is where coaches are coming into factor. I know that's the next sector as it relates to what we're talking about, but the special teams coordinator, Danny Smith, is the biggest difference on why I'm giving the Steelers the advantage, because I think he's coming up with something that's going to be impactful in this game.
Come on, Big Chew. Come on, Wrigley. Give that man a gum deal. He needs a sponsorship. I'm going to say it every week until he gets one. Big Chew especially. Did you ever have Big Chew? They used to The,
The package,
the
yeah. You had
packet,
the pouch.
you put the pouch in, and you loses its flavor after like 8 chews, and you got to spit it out and put another wad in. That packet used to be gone in like an hour.
Man, everybody did that. You're just sitting there playing around with it, like, man, this. Then after a while, your jaws get tired from trying to chew all the daggone gum. You're like, man, look here, man. I'm throw that one out and I'm gonna start over again.
Not Danny Smith. Apparently, he got the strongest and most in shape jaws of all time. Pause. But get that man a gum deal. Get that man a gum deal. Oh, moving on, coaching. So we started this out. I think Ben Johnson is one of the best young minds in the game. I had an opportunity to watch even before this week, just watching how he motivates these guys, his post-game comments to the guys. His words are always on point, and you can tell that he believes what he says. He's not giving you coach speak. He is giving you the real deal. It reminds me a lot of our coach, Coach Tomlin, right? I think Ben Johnson is the leader of men, but there's no greater leader of men in the NFL than Coach T. He still has the advantage here. Ben is a rookie, still doesn't understand what it takes to get a team to that playoff position this late in the season. This is all new for him. Now, he did a lot in Detroit as an OC, whole different ball game when you're managing an entire team, obviously. Give us the advantage because Coach T's been there, done that, and he's going to have these boys ready to go, going to Chicago, knowing that he has to put back-to-back good performances together before Buffalo comes into town next week.
Yeah, this is right here with Ben Johnson. I think this is a lip service game, and I say that because he's trying to create that mindset and having them believe that maybe they're better than what they truly are.
Mm-hmm.
But deep down, are they? So I think there's still question marks on whether he truly believes that, and he's trying to convey that. So when you're trying to learn how to win and convince your team that versus knowing how to win in the manner of the experience that Coach Tomlin has and not cracking under pressure, I'm giving the advantage to Mike Tomlin because he's a been there, done that type of coach.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. So when you look at the overall, I mean, you gave a lot of deference to the Bears. I gave a lot of deference to the Steelers. Does that necessarily mean that you think the Bears overall have the advantage in this game? They are playing at home. They are 2.5-point favorites. But overall, I know you don't got to give a score right now. You're going to do that at 11 o'clock on Sunday. On what?
KDK TV.
There we go. 11 a.m. Sunday. Tune in. Do you think overall the Bears have the advantage in this game?
On paper, they do. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the part where they're trying to convince themselves that they are the staple of that mindset has changed and they are now established. And because of that, I think they're going to be reading the papers, looking at the every show that's on there, telling them how good they are. But I think ultimately when it comes down to game time, they're now going to say, yeah, maybe we're not as good. And the Steelers are really going to take advantage of it. And I say that because the Steelers, when I talked about opportunity, they saw the Bills lose on Thursday. You know you have next week, so you don't have to worry about it because everything is right there in front of you as it relates to controlling the narrative and controlling the direction of where you want your season to go. These 3 games are challenging as you have the Bears, Bills, and of course the Ravens. But because they saw the Bills lose on Thursday, that's extra motivation. And I think this team will be ready to go. And I think they're going to surprise a lot of people, especially when you look to see what's on paper versus what you're going to see on Sunday.
And that's why the coaches make the big bucks, right? You get these
Absolutely.
teams ready to go. Despite talent on either side, you have your team ready to go. That's the team that's going to usually have the advantage on game day. Let's get over to some bets, Charlie. Now, you said, well, specifically, I did mention that the Chicago Bears are 2.5-point favorites at home on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Would you take the Bears? Or would you take the Steelers? Okay, there we go.
I'm taking the Steelers in this.
Taking the Steelers in those points. Okay. And the over is 44.5. What say you?
Ooh. I think it's going to go under.
Okay.
I do because, I mean, the weather is supposed to be fine. I just don't think that both teams will light it up offensively. So I think it's going to be under.
I think I agree with you on that. All right. Well, let's get over to CB's picks. Let's see. We got a nice little parlay, little juicy parlay. The only thing I need from you, Charlie, and let me pull up this FanDuel app so we can give the people the odds of this 3-leg parlay. Let's start with the over-under, which I thought this was amazingly low for Pat Freiermuth. This is going to be an all Steelers parlay, ladies and gentlemen. The over and under for the first leg is 13.5 receiving yards for Pat Freiermuth. What say you, CB?
I'm going over on that one. I think they get Freiermuth involved in the game early. I don't care if it's a tight end screen, get him down the middle of the field. I think he's going to have a couple catches and it's going to be well over the 13.5.
It seems straight up disrespectful almost, right?
It does.
13.5? Like, come on.
It's like throwing the bait out there. Like, yeah, this bet is too good to be true.
Too good. 13. Like, that's the easy part of my parlay. Let me put that in there, and then I can worry about the other stuff. All right, so one, that's a little bit tougher to gauge because one, we don't know how healthy he is. Two, we don't know with the emergence of Caleb Johnson and how well Kenneth Gainwell has been in the passing game, how many touches Jaylen Warren will have. FanDuel has his over-under for total rushing and receiving yards at 79.5. Let me look back and tell you the last few games that, first of all, I'll look these stats up. On his face, CB, what do you think happens right there? The over-under 78.5 for Jaylen Warren, rushing and receiving.
I'm going under. And the reason why I'm going under, I just don't trust that ankle of his. I know he's going to try to give it a go. I just don't know if it holds up. And because of that, I think the coach are going to have that running back rotation a little bit more in favor of Gainwell Johnson than Gainwell Warren. And because of that, I think Johnson gets a few more carries, and I think that's going to come on the underside for Jaylen Warren.
So Jaylen has 67 total rushing and receiving versus the Bengals last week. Probably would have had more if he had not exited the game early in the third quarter. The week before versus the Chargers, he had 91. The week before versus the Colts, he only had 29. But before that, the Green Bay Packers, he had 73. And then his big game of the year was the Bengals the first time around, October 16th. He had 158 total yards. So it's been a kind of a mixed bag with him when it comes to that. Obviously, when he gets the touches, he produces. It's just a matter of him getting the touches, and you say under. All right. Last but not least, who scores for the Steelers this week, CB?
Oh, man. I'm going Kenneth Gainwell. I think that's one that I think, he had a couple touchdowns last week. I think he continues to get involved in the game. This guy's swift. I like him with the ball in his hands, and I think he makes a couple guys miss, and I think he gets into the end zone this week.
Kenneth Gainwell gets into the end zone. That is your call. Okay, hold on. Let me calculate these odds for our listeners out there. So Kenneth Gainwell scores. We got over under on Freiermuth over 13.5. Straight up disrespectful. And then we got rushing and receiving. Hold on, let me pull this up. Rushing and receiving. You got Jaylen Warren. Dang it, why won't it come up? There we go. At under 79.5, correct?
Yes, under
79.5. And those odds come in at 1,068. So bet $10, you get $106.89. So recap CB's picks. Over 13.5 yards receiving for Pat Freiermuth, under 79.5 total yards receiving and rushing for Jaylen Warren. And you think Gainwell gets into the end zone once again for the second week in a row. CB's picks, y'all. Put them in. Put those bad boys in. All right, CB, coming to the end of the show, but we can't get out of here without bringing up the fact that two things. Today, you are doing what you always do, giving back to the community. Tell us a little bit about the turkey drive that's happening at 4 p.m. today.
Yes, we get excited about this. This is our annual turkey drive as we partner with the Munhall Police Department, Munhall Fire Department, and we come together and adopt 200 families. And we're giving out turkeys along with the fixings and coats for kids here today. So we'll be doing it at the Batch Foundation from 4 to 7 p.m. here today. So it's just exciting to really be a part of it and continue to put smiles on families' faces during this time, especially with all the uncertainty that's going on in this world right now. But we're just trying to do our small part, and all the volunteers who have picked up, set up, and will be there to help navigate and direct families to where they need to get to here today. It's going to be a fun-filled evening this evening.
You're a busy man, but you're always doing it for the people, CB. Gotta love it, brother. Another thing that you can't overshadow how big of an event last week In the Pocket was on the 13th of November. Give us a little bit of a recap of how everything went down, and did you enjoy yourself?
We really did. Last week was fun. It really was. And obviously, we missed you up here, Trai, with your flight delays and all of that good stuff. But we had over 300 people in attendance. And this fundraiser is called In the Pocket with Charlie Batch. And we've been doing it for 16 years now. And this is our only fundraiser that we have for the year. And it helps raise funds for our out of school time and our STEAM programs. And we say STEAM instead of STEM because we include the A for Arts. And it was a fun-filled event. We had pool, poker, ping pong, cornhole. We had so many people that were there that was having fun, all for a good cause. We had over 40 players that were there in attendance, former and active, along with over 20 celebrities, local celebrities that were here in town. I got to give a shout out to big Neil Walker from the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was in attendance as well. He was knocking people down off the ping pong table. So it was pretty cool to see him. But again, it was just all in fun. It was, great to be able to see. So I just want to thank everybody who believes in the mission and vision of Best of the Batch Foundation. We couldn't do it without you. So I want to say thank you. And we are grateful and humble for all the support that we truly have. So as we kind of go through that particular program, and all the information is at batchfoundation.org. But also, as we get to the holiday time, and we'll start here, and we've already updated our website, we actually adopt over 400 families for the holiday season for Christmas, which is over 1,800 kids. And we actually collect toys unwrapped, we wrap them, and then we actually go out and deliver on the week of Christmas. So we make it a full family event. We have a tool set. We have a tool set, silverware set, dish set, pot set, in addition to all the fixings and a laundry basket full of food that we give to these families. So we make it a full family experience for everyone there. So again, for anybody who wants to be a part of that, and we'll collect toys all the way through December 22nd in anticipation of that. So anybody who wants to be a part of it, then go to batchfoundation.org. You'll see all the drop-off locations around the city of Pittsburgh. And if you can't be there physically to drop off, there's actually click and ship options on our website that you can actually select the toys. They will ship directly to us at the foundation, and we'll be ready to rock and roll to be able to wrap those gifts. So again, I just want to say thank you. So all of that information is on batchfoundation.org.
Santa Batch. Boy, I didn't know Santa had such good hair, man. Like, you out there just slinging these toys and doing so many good things for the community. I gotta love it, man. Awesome thing that you're doing. CB, coming to the end of our preview show. I'm hoping that we have a good showing on Sunday. So we have I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna talk it into existence. I'm gonna see you on Victory Monday this next Monday, right, CB?
Hey, we're calling it. We're claiming it right now. So hey, we're talking Victory Monday. I can't wait to see you on Monday as we talk about this victory.
Make sure y'all tune in to Snap Count. Again, YouTube, Big Play Pittsburgh, Instagram, Big Play Pittsburgh, X, the Snap Count Show. Subscribe. Get us to 2,000. Get us to 10,000. We're going for the moon, baby. We're going to leave you with some awesome sights and sound from In the Pocket event last week, brought to you by the Best of Batch Foundation. Love y'all. See y'all on Monday. Here we go.
This is our 16th annual In the Pocket event, and we are actually here playing pool, poker, ping pong, cornhole. And what better way for you to turn around and beat James Harrison? Who wouldn't want that bragging story, right?
I don't even know the rules.
Yeah, right.
Our goal is to raise over $200,000, and we are almost there. Please, if you feel the need to click on that donate button, I'm not going to stop you. Vonix, I appreciate you always flying in to be able to take care of us too as well. And all the players, the current and former players, there was over 40 celebrities here today.
What Charlie does in this community is incredible. I've been coming to these events because I support what he does. I think he does a tremendous job. He says a lot about what the Steeler organization and the Steeler players are about.
This is our biggest fundraiser event of the year. All of the fundraising that we do tonight goes towards the after-school programming. Kids in grades 3 through high school are able to come there. They do STEM coding, they do cooking classes, so it's all the things to keep them in a safe space after school hours.
The foundation started because I lost my sister back in 1996. She was caught in crossfire between rival gangs and never had the opportunity to live life. And Danielle, she was only 17 years old. And at that particular point, I said if I was ever in position to give back, I would. January of 1999 is when Best of the Batch Foundation was formed. And then when I got here to Pittsburgh in 2002, I thought it would be my only season. And 1 year turned into two turned into now 24 years being back home. So this is just something for me, truly phenomenal to be able to really shine light on and keep my sister's memory alive.